think about the Messi thing?
Anything else on the Messi front, Chris, before we move on?
No, I'm done. I'm
falling out. I told you, I never want to bring this guy's name up again.
I don't know, man. This Messi thing is just a freaking mess. What a disaster.
I don't want to hear this name ever again until it's official. But they got me back.
No question about it. I am ready to hurt again.
Chris, the Herons are back. Welcome, everybody, to episode number 88 of the Battered Herons podcast. I am your host, Daniel Granada. Alongside me, as always, Mr. KBD. How are you doing, sir?
Listen, we're still smoking on that Nashville pack, right? We're still smoking on it.
I got. Look what I got. I got the cup, baby. I got the cup.
You got the cup in hand, baby.
We got the Lee's cup. Putting this bitch on a shirt. We got the cup, baby. Oh, man, it feels so good. Man, I'm glad to be here. I missed Saturday's show. I know you and Xavier held it down. Thank you for everybody that joined. And, yeah, man, first trophy. I mean, it's August 21st. July 21st was his debut. That was the Cruz Azul game. That was the free kick movie ending. It's been exactly 1 month, and it's been a wild month. So I don't want to get too much into Saturday's game because obviously you guys went into that in depth. I mean, if you guys have any questions for me about the actual game, the stadium or whatever, feel free to ask. But the game itself, I'm sure everybody's been talking about it nonstop. And yes, I am wearing the Carolina. You know, technically, this is our first trophy. But the real ones know what the real trophy was. You know what the real trophy was. So, over the last month, Chris, your favorite moment? Was it Saturday?
I think Saturday. I mean, it's just because it's more recent, but I mean, I don't think you could get any better than Callender making a goal and saving the goal to get us to win this tournament. Like, he basically just put it all in his hands.
I agree. And obviously, I don't know. I didn't get to talk to you guys about it. I know we brought up Ulloa on Saturday when I was on there for a couple minutes. And I thought that the whole fifth kicker, Ulloa, I thought it was because that game would have won it. And I thought it was sentimental value behind it, right? Because he was the only player from that first game. Like, Drake technically was on the bench later on in the season. But that very first game, Ulloa is the only player still on the team. But technically, Drake was a part of the team that season. And I thought it was fitting that even though Ulloa didn't get it, Drake was able to get that game-winning PK kick and save. Yeah. I'm really happy that went down the way it did. So I thought that was pretty cool. But me personally, my favorite, still that Dallas game, man. That Dallas game, I don't know, dude. I thought it was over.
It was different feels.
Yeah. But the way that comeback went down, man, that was, to me, that was the game of the month. That was my favorite moment of the month. Me and my wife went crazy here in the living room. To me, that is the best moment over the last month.
Well, and Vic is saying his top 3 moments is Messi giving the armband over to Yedlin.
That was cool.
Guskecki is saying his first goal. I mean, if any of you guys want to chime in and let us know.
Yeah. Go ahead. Let us know what your because this felt like a full year in the last month.
Yes.
And I agree. For me, the Dallas was awesome. But yeah, that first goal, the way, like, the debut and for it to end the way it did, that was pretty cool also. So yeah, I lost my mind. For those of you that watched the video of me that I uploaded, I lost my mind when that happened, for sure.
And show Lucho Lalo the trophy real quick if you still got it handy with you, because he's asking.
I got you guys. They gave out. They were giving away free cups over there at Calle Ocho. If you guys want some, they're easy to find. Find them at Sedano's. They even have the Leaks Cup logo across the bottom. But because of copyright, I'm not allowed to show it.
Well, and Rohan is mentioning Cincinnati got spanked last night. We'll get to that, Bobby.
We're gonna get into that. We got somebody to fill us in with all those happenings. All right. So real quick, a couple things we want to touch on before we bring in our boy Justin Blair. Pink kits. Are we ever gonna see the black kit? What do you think?
I think we might. I think we might see it. I think we might see it this Wednesday. I think we're going to see it this Wednesday because what the home kit? The home kit for Cincinnati, is it
it-
orange?
No, it's blue.
It's blue.
Yeah.
Oh, so we might see
I don't
pink
think I
there.
don't think we're ever
Okay.
gonna see it. I think it's gonna we're just gonna rock pink all the way through. Because I can't. I
Well,
thought that for sure we're gonna wear it on Saturday. So and I'm happy.
unless
That's my favorite kid.
unless we play Houston Dynamo, aren't their home kits red? I wouldn't imagine that they'd have red versus pink.
I think they'll make them change their colors. Right now,
No
that pink.
way.
I don't know, man. I really thought that this Saturday was gonna
No
be
way.
pink.
Well, I mean, look,
Well,
it's a good selling point MLS wise, just like
for
league
sure.
wide. It's going to be a huge selling point to keep them in pink as much as possible. But I can't imagine that that's going to happen all season. Like, there's going to be a team where we're just going to have to bite the bullet and wear the black, kind of like
All right.
what I'm wearing right here.
And two other things I want to touch on real quick. Actually, the second one I want to get Justin's take on. But real quick, the news that Ray Hudson is going to be calling the Open Cup game. How awesome is that? Like when I heard that, I was like, wow, that's being La Liga feels all over again. Nobody calls messy games like Ray Hudson, so I'm really excited to have Ray Hudson on the call.
That's going to be great. It's going to be magisterial, as he would say.
There you go.
Yes.
It will be.
JV is saying
I'm
JV's coming. No la noche, ride the lucky kit. Listen, but JV, it's lucky until it ain't lucky anymore. What if we take an L in that? Now it's going to be like the unlucky kit?
No, man, that's it. We won our first cup with it. What I wanted was to make sure that when we go ahead and we raised that first cup, that it was going to be in that pink jersey. Now I don't care what they wear from now on, but I was really happy that pink kit is going to go down in history as the kit that we wore that first. I want to get a League's Cup patch on my jersey, but like I want an authentic one. I want one that just
not
randomly falls off and just. No, I want it to be flapping like everybody's, right? Because that's the authentic one. That's the one that they wore on the field. The one that was always flapping. Like, don't give me anything sewed on. Give me the authentic. Give me that cheapie that kind of flaps. I want to walk and just let it just go like that, right? So that's the one I want. I gotta go find that. So I gotta find that. But awesome.
You can get that at Ñoque Barato and ñoquebarato.com.
All right. So without further ado, we got our first cup and everybody's hyped about it. But like the thumbnail says, one isn't enough, right? We're already off that. We celebrated, but we're already focused on the next one. And to get that, we need to win our semifinal game against Cincinnati FC. That's on Wednesday. It's in Cincinnati. Cincinnati, I've been talking about it since back in June when we first got Messi. I thought that the Open Cup, everybody's talking about like, oh, we're going to win the Open Cup. All we got to do is win 2 games. It's like, man, Cincinnati's a good squad. And Cincinnati at home, I don't know, but everybody's talking like it's a done deal. We'll see. But to talk about it, we have our guy, Justin Blair from Cincy Soccer Talk, to join us. So welcome, Justin Blair, to the show. How are you doing, sir?
Doing great. All things considered. Last night was obviously something to behold. You never want to go down to a rival like that, getting absolutely ran out of their field. But yeah, definitely in soccer heaven right now. You got the leagues in Europe resuming, and you got Leagues Cup just coming to conclusion, and now we have MLS is back 2.0.
Well, I mean, I'm pretty sure as a Cincy fan and supporter, you're probably super hyped because now the MLS season has finally come upon us, and we can finally get to talking the real MLS season. But obviously, yesterday's game was a kick in the chin, I might say. No,
it definitely was. I think a lot of fans and a lot of talk around in Cincinnati was how were they going to handle the 2 match. Obviously 2 really big matches. Cincinnati, like Inter Miami, have never won a cup. Prior to the Leagues Cup final. So we or I in the U.S. Open Cup. That's how Cincinnati got its birth into MLS. Is a good deep run to the semifinals of U.S. Open Cup. So we got eyes on 2 different things: a big derby match. Huge matchup against, obviously Lionel Messi. Fans are, running to the ticket box to get tickets for that. So it's kind of a give and take. But to perform the way we did against Columbus, all things considered, is definitely a downer. I think the fan base is feeling a little bit sour going into this match.
I have a question because Hell is Real. Oh, yeah, Mr. Krabs is mentioning Hell is Real. What a cool name for the Columbus and Cincy rivalry. I don't know how I would feel about that nickname because that's kind of like poking fun at Ohio, I imagine, right? Like that's the way I read it.
Well, it's the Hell is Real. I don't know if you know the story behind it, but there is
The
a
billboard?
sign. Yeah, there's a billboard right smack dab in the middle of Columbus and Cincinnati. And let me preface this, it is very different when you get outside of those two cities as far as
Yes.
what they're displaying. But it is a reminder, Hell is Real. Obviously, a very Protestant area, and that just became the token. It just it's the most familiar landmark. It's nothing but cornfields and hog farms all the way between the two.
Like
You get a little bit of
Napoleon Dynamite Land.
yeah, exactly. Think of like North Central Florida. That's kind of what you're seeing. It's kind of
Oof.
backwoods when you get up through there. So that became the icon, and it's
Nice.
stuck. And obviously, both franchises have embraced it wholeheartedly.
If I could backtrack just a second, back to Leagues Cup. You've been paying attention to the whole Messi thing.
I
What
have.
did you
Yep.
think about what did you think about the whole Inter Miami run?
Well, I think Inter Miami is probably the greatest team in the world because they follow the script just to a T, to an exact T, playing with the. I mean, how could you not be the greatest athlete of all time, not being able to doink it off of the post there or going into penalty kicks? It's just the fans around MLS are crazy. The script thing has been a narrative that people have pushed. It's just amazing to watch Inter Miami play this way. I think we've all watched Inter Miami for this season, and you've been kind of wondering what's going on with obviously Joseph Martinez coming to the team and Capana. You thought, oh, this team's going to unlock something and definitely going to
Yes.
slide into the playoffs, and then they just started falling. I mean, that big win against Philadelphia was fool's gold.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And then for everything to just come about in the League's Cup, I mean, just getting over that Cruz Azul just built that team's confidence. And man, it's been fun. And obviously, like FC Dallas completely went away from their style, didn't they? They went completely
Well,
away from their style. They're more of a team that likes to fill the game out and likes. I think they've had several games where they finished in the 80th minute. But for Messi and for Inter Miami to have that confidence going 2 goals down several times in that matchup, it's just hats off. We all knew what Callender could do, but for the rest of the team to be this lifted and this cohesive this quickly, it's been a shocker.
And
I
before you get to your next thought, Danny, real quick, I just want to mention to Rashid because he's a newer fan. He's mentioning, do I have to be scared about the next game? I heard they're really good, even though they lost yesterday. I would say, yeah, because they still hold the first place in the MLS East side, so there's something to
in the
fear there.
entire
So,
league. In the entire
yeah,
league.
well, in
And
the
we're gonna get
entire
into
league,
that.
that's correct. Go ahead,
We're
Danny.
gonna get into that. But real quick, so just closing off the Leagues Cup talk. There's a lot of talk about Liga MX and how they weren't playing any home games, so blah blah blah. I think Liga MX is overrated. That's right, I said it. I don't care what you think. I said it. So, yes, I do think that they were at a disadvantage because they played every game away. But I'm sorry if EP because everybody's like, oh, Liga MX is so much better. I mean, it's so much better. Blah, 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 blah. I promise you, if the EPL were to come here, they'd have no problem beating the MLS teams. If La Liga
Yeah.
were to come here, they'd have no problem. Those leagues are superior to the MLS. Those would take care of business, home or away. Liga MX is not superior to MLS. I'm sorry to tell you people, they're not. Get over
I
it.
agree.
It's over.
Top to the bottom, you're 100% right. I still think Monterrey is a very good team.
No, there's a handful of
Yes.
teams that could
Club
run it
America.
on, right?
Yeah, Chivas obviously has when they're playing their full lineup. I think Cincinnati ran into them in the Leagues Cup, and obviously they were running a U.S. Open Cup kind of lineup against us. So, I mean, I think Liga MX is overrated. When they had, I think the rankings came out and they had the top 8 in CONCACAF, all Liga MX teams.
But I do think that their top teams are great.
Yeah, but not top
Monterrey,
8.
America.
That's
No.
going
But that's what
way.
I'm saying.
Like
And for them to say,
Juarez was higher than FC Cincinnati and Philadelphia. Like that makes no sense.
Well, I just think that fans in general that look at leagues around the world, I think that they're kind of quick to shit on United States on American teams.
Sure.
I think they're quick to shit
league,
on
sure.
MLS. And so if they'll find any way to say this league, this team is better than whatever America. I mean, there's people that are literally saying that the Saudi Arabia league is better than the MLS league. Like, I don't get it,
No, because they have a lot better.
They have better players, by
top 4 teams.
Right, the top, because they have no salary cap and they're just paying a crap load of money. Right.
The state is literally pumping money into those clubs.
So I get what they're saying, but I love those comparisons. Like, ooh, look at Ronaldo and all the people that followed him to Saudi Arabia. Who's followed Messi? There's a salary cap here. There's a reason why people, if they were gonna get the same exact paycheck from both places, I promise you, they'd be in MLS right now. Like, let's be real.
And I guarantee that same person that's asking you look at Ronaldo doesn't even know where Ronaldo plays. Probably doesn't even.
They might know where
he.
No, they might know where he plays. I promise you, they don't know how to watch it, because I have no idea how to watch those games.
I have no idea.
All right, so yeah, I just wanted to talk about that a second. So, all right, so let's get into Cincinnati. Oh no, wait.
Yeah,
I did want to bring up one more thing. I'm sorry.
No worries.
Drake Callender, monster.
Absolutely.
Absolute monster. I remember after the first 3 games of this season, I asked, is there a chance that he could win, or not win, but be in talks for MVP? And people were like, what the hell? That's stupid. But I meant it because I knew that our defense was bad. And everybody's like, oh, no, we won the first 3 games. Our defense looked like crap. And I thought that Drake was the only reason that we were 2-0 and then 2-1 and so on and so forth. If it wasn't for Drake, we wouldn't have like 3 wins this year.
Yeah, absolutely. Especially when Gregory went down.
So Drake was the reason that we looked better defensively than we should have, because he was like leading the league in shots against, and everybody's like, oh, but our defense isn't that bad. I was like, I'm sorry, but that indicates that it is bad, because he has to make all these saves.
That's terrible.
But anyway, my thing is, everybody keeps saying that he's gonna leave soon. Now, I kind of wanted to see what you thought, Justin. Do you think Drake has to go to Europe? Because I think otherwise. What do you think?
Ooh.
It depends on what his goals are. I think the real cash cow still for U.S. players is the World Cup runs. So with Greg Berhalter, not so much. Greg Berhalter clearly doesn't prioritize that. He wants playing time. So if Drake Callender is going to go to a side and play in a Serie A, a La Liga, or a obviously Premier League, and be a starter, then he'll make that move. But if he's not going to be a starter, he's not doing this. We see Gaga Salina just getting transferred out, going over to Chelsea. It's Drake Callender needs to probably just stay at Inter Miami until something more attractive opens up where he's going to get consistent playing time overseas.
And
go ahead, Chris.
No, and I don't know. Do you think that it's beneficial though, Danny? Like if he leaves now, not now, but like
what a wise
in the immediate. Yeah. Oh, I wanted to mention that the wise men say, "What's up, guys?" I
think they jumped on just to talk shit to Justin. Honestly.
Yeah, for sure. It's a competing podcast team out in out in Ohio, in Columbus.
Uh-huh.
Now, I don't. Is it really beneficial though, Danny, for him to move within the near future, especially now that Messi and the whole gang are here?
Well, a couple things. Obviously, everybody assumed, and it's given Europe is better, right? Overall,
Yeah.
So that's why everybody says that you want to make the move. But a couple things to consider. Matt Turner. What happened to Matt Turner when he went to Arsenal? He played
Backup.
no games. He's not
Yeah.
even in Arsenal anymore. I forgot where he went. He went somewhere else. When you make that move to Europe, if you're going because they're offering you so much money that you can't pass it up, I get it. But to go to Europe just to say, oh, I'm playing in Europe now, to me, it doesn't make any sense, especially when you're playing on the same team as Lionel Messi. Because I promise you, around the world, nobody has any idea who Matt Turner is. But right now, maybe not a complete household name, but a lot more people know who Drake Callender is after this Saturday because he's playing with Messi than he would if he was playing for the backup role in Arsenal or if he was starting for, I don't know, a random team. I can't, off the top of my head, I can't think of any.
He's at Bournemouth in the EPL. He's a starting goalkeeper at Bournemouth. But you're right. I mean, Inter Miami is drawing more eyes than Bournemouth in the EPL. I mean, I obviously a recently promoted team over the past few seasons, but that's incredible. Like Inter Miami has drawn the attention, but it is to what end, right? Are you trying to increase value, or are you trying to?
Yes, he is at Nottingham. I'm sorry, I just remembered.
Sorry,
he is
Nottingham
at
Forest,
Nottingham.
not
Yes,
Bournemouth.
yes.
Sorry, but yes, same applies. Nottingham Forest is a very local club. It is, obviously in the limelight of EPL and is around houses worldwide. But Messi is the ultimate attention getter. I think he's the great savior of football as far as most fans worldwide, not just in Europe, not just in South America.
And to that point, I think another argument that people give is like, okay, Matt Turner is starting at Nottingham, so he's going to see more consistent, better quality competition. I get it. Okay, you have a point there, but is Nottingham going to be playing possibly against the top teams in South America in the Copa Libertadores? Probably not. Is he playing against the top Mexican teams? No. There's a chance that Inter Miami might play in the World Cup for clubs in 2025. Drake Callender might be playing against Real Madrid. Is Matt Turner going to be playing against those teams? No. I think Drake Callender is in a really good situation unless they offer him a boatload of money, which unfortunately here in the MLS, because of the salary cap, they can't. Unless he's leaving for the money, go for it. Take care of your family. Do what you got to do. But if it's not a boatload of money, this is the spot for him, and I don't see him leaving because he is in the perfect situation right now. So that was my take on it. I kind of wanted to see what you guys thought.
I agree. I think if it's a Champions League side, then he'll go. If Ajax comes calling, if Inter Milan comes calling, then obviously he'll make that jump.
Where he'll be a starter.
Yeah, if he's a starter solely.
Right. All right. So,
I mean, somebody Zahid is mentioning Matt Turner is going to play against City, United, Arsenal, Tottenham, Newcastle. Dude, grow up.
I mean, Zahid's got a point though.
What are we doing with that?
He's playing against Erling Haaland. He's getting
he's getting a score on by Erling Haaland. I don't know.
Oh yeah, well. Yeah, with Nottingham Forest's defensive line, yes, definitely. But I think staying in Miami just increases his value over time, and it does nothing to hurt him with the USMNT.
And back to, I'm sorry, I forgot who said that. I get it. The quality is better in league play, but Nottingham isn't playing outside of the EPL. Nottingham is going to stay in the EPL. He's going to play in the FA Cup. He's going to play again against all the teams that you mentioned, Man City and all of them. That's great. But right now, Drake Callender personally is getting international exposure, something that Nottingham isn't going to offer Matt Turner, something that the Spurs aren't going to offer Callender. Right now, he's getting this international exposure, so I think he's going to take full advantage of that, and that might give him a way bigger paycheck in the future. So I don't see him leaving unless, again, like we said, it's a crazy payday, and maybe that's coming his way, but we'll see. But yeah, I do have a lot of growing up to do for sure. All right, so let's get into Cincinnati. Justin, can you tell me what last time we spoke to you, I told you I predicted before the season started Cincinnati would win the East. And then we came on and everybody in the chat was having a lot of fun with you because they said Acosta and Brenner are leaving by the summer. Well, Acosta hasn't left. How's the team looking up until now, right? Because close to the same.
Yeah, Costa was never going to leave. No,
Oh,
no.
okay.
He's had his run. He's going to stay in MLS.
So how's the team looking overall? Because I mean, I thought they were the best team, and then after yesterday, everybody's like, "Oh, well, maybe they're not as good as we thought." So what are we thinking?
Well, I'm thinking we're 51 points on the table right now. 7
How did
points
they look in the
ahead.
Leagues Cup?
Well, we beat Chivas, obviously.
Okay.
One and a half, or I guess the B team for Chivas beat them over 2 days, mind you. We had to end up finishing the match in an empty stadium, but it was
That
3-1,
I don't remember.
I believe, is the result against Chivas, who was runners up in the Liga MX in the last tournament. So pretty good, I guess. 51 points ahead of everybody. That's 7 points ahead of the standings right now, currently as it stands. Not too far ahead on goal or matches played. But if you're going to sit there and look at Columbus game and how much that matchup means to both Cincinnati and Columbus, and then consider that we had 3 center backs out in that game. We had Matt Miazga, yellow card accumulation, one of our better players, right? Max Tam
Right.
contract. And you had Yorson Mascara, the lone player from Wolves, who is arguably our best defensive player in the history of FC Cincinnati, picked up a knock on Thursday's practice. If you're going to take that snapshot there and say that's what FC Cincinnati is going to be against the team who leads the league in goals scored, I'd say that's a little bit naive. But as far as the overall, it is a bit concerning. FC Cincinnati before Leagues Cup had 21 matches, I believe it was, and 20 of those matches, 20 different starting lineups in those matches. So the cohesion is just, we have never hit that gear where we were last year, where everybody was moving together, and to be this far ahead currently as it stands, I'd say we're doing pretty well right now. I think there's lots of room for improvement. I think there were some holes that were opened up in yesterday's match, but I don't think that people can just look at FC Cincinnati and see it as a rollover.
And somebody mentioned here in the comments, if since he played all of their starters, maybe they want to rest them up for Inter Miami. I mean, it looked like you guys did. I think aside from maybe
the back line, you got
Yeah.
what you got. It was pretty much our starting lineup. You had Celentano making his first start in a month and a half because Alec Khan played all league, which is an interesting thing. We'll see how he's played every single cup match so far,
Yeah.
as far as Leagues Cup and Open Cup. So is he going to get the start against Miami, or are we going to play our starter Celentano? We'll see. I would imagine Celentano, but Pat Noonan has made it a point to keep Alec Khan, who, if you don't know, is probably the most attractive reserve goalkeeper in the league.
The knock that you were talking about, I don't know,
It was.
Jesus Christ.
Yeah.
Is everybody expected back for Wednesday's game?
Yes. Everybody except for the third one that I did not mention by name, but Hagelin actually picked up the knock in the match. So he went out at halftime. So he did start the match, but he didn't play the match through. His injury is kind of unknown. It wasn't mentioned. It doesn't seem to be a concern. Mosquera, it seems to be a little bit of, if he's not 100%, let's not play him against Columbus, which, obviously the fans wanted the hell is real derby, but obviously
you're prioritizing the U.S. Open Cup.
We're prioritizing a trophy. Pat
sure.
Noonan, day one, when he walked in this building, said that is the goal, is to win trophies. And he has mentioned several times he will prioritize whichever trophy is most likely or is right in front of their face. So obviously Open Cup is the first available
the priority.
trophy. Yeah.
Well, and people are mentioning. I mean, NG is really on another level today. He's mentioning that Inter Miami looks exhausted during the final, not looking really good. I mean, I don't know if you noticed, like Messi ran a total of like 7 minutes all game. I think we're perfectly fine. It's no big deal, guy.
I think
Let's
Nashville just
relax.
did a good job containing everything. Like they didn't get cute like Philadelphia. If Philadelphia
Yeah.
doesn't get cute, that game's a lot tighter. Nashville came in with a purpose. They stayed compact and they closed off all the passing lanes for Busquets, and they just played the good game. They played a good game. I mean, you just got to give them
Yes.
credit. I thought, like I told you, I thought that this would be a low scoring game, and I didn't think it was going to go to PKs, but I did think it was going to be low scoring because they were. I think that helped Nashville, right? Seeing what Philadelphia did and how it backfired on them, they're like, you know what? Let's not get cute. Let's just go and play our game, and they did. They're the best defense in the league. All right. So we have a lot of new people to the channel, a lot of new people watching, obviously, right? New to MLS and Inter Miami. So a lot of people don't know a lot about the teams across the country. So if you had to kind of inform people that are going to be watching Cincinnati for the first time on Wednesday about players to watch for, who would you say?
First and foremost, it has to be Luciano Acosta. The Argentinian, he is absolutely electric when he gets on the ball. He plays a bit like Messi, to be honest with you, as far as he doesn't really burn the gas. He is sitting back, watching things develop, and then it's that quick moment where he is just absolutely magical. Now, he has two guys in front of him who bring a lot of pedigree, but they're still working out cohesion. But I would mention Vasquez quickly after Luciano Costa, because Vasquez is probably the closest thing to a true nine in this league. He is a guy that is just going to be in the box and be a problem and something that you have to man mark the entire match. And then apart from that, Obina Nwobono is going to be the absolute linchpin in a match against Inter Miami. Obina Nwobono is probably the best six in MLS. I know a lot was given, and rightfully so, to the six in Philadelphia. Obina is a lot better than him. He's a lot more athletic, a lot more instinctual. He is a lot more playing at your feet. So he would be the guy if you were looking at Busquets and saying, hey, how are we going to be able to contain Busquets in this situation? I would say probably Obina is going to be the guy that you're going to look at on the field. You're not going to be able to contain him, but you are going to have somebody harassing him the entire time. And then lastly, I'd probably go with Mosquera. Mosquera has been what kept FC Cincinnati when we were dealing with the Brenner transfer and we weren't producing on goal scores. Mosquera is just an absolute beast. He's a guy that's going to play the ball forward. He's going to aggressively go at you. He's going to get in your head the entire match, and he just so happens to be on Messi's side of the pitch.
Somebody's asking Justin, is Alvaro fit to play?
Alvaro Barriel, yeah, he's fit. A little bit weird because I think if anybody's watched,
Came off the game.
Yeah, he came off the game, but the game was sold at that point. I mean, I think it was a 75th minute, maybe.
Yes.
Substitution, and it just they really didn't have any chemistry going on there, and everybody is returning from 2 weeks of not playing, so they haven't had a 90-minute, not even a substitution in that time. So I would say that Barrial coming off is not a concern at all. I think Barrial was asked to do something completely different, something he was asked to do in the MLS All-Star game, which is just sit back and try to absorb some of the pressure. He wasn't very much of a factor going forward. He will be in Miami when you have Yedlin on that side wanting to go forward as well.
How's Santiago Arias?
Arias is just kind of a guy who just can't get off the injury bench. I mean, that's part of the reason why FC Cincinnati has had several lineups, is because they have a couple guys who just, for whatever reason, it seems like every other week we're talking about them picking up a knock. And Arias has obviously shown a little bit of skill, but he is completely not in this team's chemistry or rhythm. I think you saw, if anybody watched that match against Columbus, an absolutely embarrassing play where Bopenza kicks the ball straight to the corner flag.
Yes.
And everybody's confused, like, what in the world was that? And Arias is like all the way back, not running forward. And that's, I mean, FC Cincinnati is a 3-5-2 team. They love to play their wing backs forward. Barrial, obviously, we'd love Arias to be that other guy, but he just doesn't have the legs right now. I don't know what the deal is. He consistently gets injured, and there's just no chemistry right now. But it will develop. There's still 12 matches to go in the season.
Well, I mean, you just brought up the 3-5-2. So you guys play a 3-5-2. You guys, I'm assuming you're aggressive offensively because you guys are a top scoring team.
We
So
are
you
a
push up with your
counter-press.
wingbacks. Okay, counter press team. So and you're constantly pushing up with your wingbacks. So are you susceptible to the counter also then?
We are very susceptible to direct play through the middle, challenging our back line to hold it line and to be able to diffuse some of the trickier situations that come at it. And as you saw in the Columbus match, not being able to get the ball off of a Nagby or a Aiden Morris really messes
Aiden
up.
Morris had a game.
Yeah, he just
Aiden Morris had a
absolutely
game.
Yes.
Yes.
worked FC Cincinnati, and that was shocking, and that's part of it. But they deliberately, and I mean, we all give Nancy a lot of credit. They deliberately went away from Obina Nwobodo. I think Pat Noonan saw that, and he may make a change with respects to Junior Moreno and bring in a lot more younger and a lot more fit Angolo.
And somebody's Rashid is asking here if it's only an away game. It is an away game on Wednesday, which brings me to one of the points I wanted to make. And I guess we'll get back to some of the tactics and stuff. But I don't know if you remember, Justin, the post that you had put up of Cincinnati sort of marching in, and then I see a random Argentinian jersey, and I mentioned it in the comments, and I mean, I imagine that he's there for Acosta,
Yeah,
but
absolutely.
you know that there's going to be some people that are going to be there with that jersey that's going to have Messi in the back. Like,
There'll be quite
mean,
a few.
Thankfully, it's on a Wednesday, so I don't know how the fan turnout is going to be. But
I'm sorry, just answering that question before it goes away.
Yeah.
Okay.
I imagine that there's still going to be some people that are out there going to be supporting Inter Miami / Messi, because I mean, this year it's just going to be like that. I feel like at some point the fans are going to support Inter Miami, but for now it's just going to be like a hybrid of Inter Miami and Messi supporters.
Oh, absolutely. I mean, and if you look around Cincinnati, where it's kind of centrally located, there's going to be a lot of people coming down from Pittsburgh. There's going to be a lot of people coming in from Chicago. There's going to be a lot of people coming, from all over the place that are going to be coming just for Messi. And okay, that's fine. TQL Stadium is a very intimidating place for people to play. It is designed for the crowd noise. But yeah, I fully expect there to be, at least 25% Miami / Messi supporters there.
That's similar to what it was in Nashville on Saturday. I thought it was going to be more, but Nashville came out and they represented that. I respect that. But I suggest you guys don't have a weird chant like they do. I mean, it's not weird, but the NSC, it sounded like Messi. I'm sorry. And apparently from what I've heard on the broadcast, it also sounded like they were chanting Messi. So it's not a good look. Yeah.
We do the FCC chant. It's kind of like a slow drum F C C, and then progressively it goes forward.
But it won't come off like the NSC. That was
hopefully
pretty
we get the goal chant going a lot more. That would be desired effect.
I'm not as scared as for your goal chant as I was for Philly. So like we're already past that.
What is your obsession with the dupe?
I'm telling you, man, it's a traumatizing celebration. And then you know what else I like that Philly does is that whenever the opposing team substitutes their players, they say something like "you suck" or something like that, like really loud. Yeah, they do that every time that an opposing team's players are substituting. You know how they mention like coming into the game, Daniel in for
Yeah.
Christian, and then it's like, you suck or something like, yeah, suck. There we go. That's what they do. Yes.
FC Cincinnati does the same. They do it mainly during the lineups when they're announcing each of the players for Miami, and Messi's not going to be absolved of that because I think Walker Zimmerman was the person that
Messi's
was
not coming
reading.
off.
Huh? Oh
I'm
yeah,
sorry, I thought you
yeah.
meant about-
I don't know if you guys have ever like been around like the Bengals or the Reds or any of that stuff, but Cincinnati has a reputation of being a rather toxic kind of fan base. They really like to dig into people and get into it, and that's kind of bleeding over to FC Cincinnati now. I don't
I
know if
wasn't
you
aware of
heard
this.
on the broadcast there was F Ted Uncle, and it was loud. I mean, that entire stadium, you could hear them chanting F Ted Uncle, who was the match official for the Columbus game. But I mean, it gets heated. They're going to be into it. FC Cincinnati is going to be into it, and they're certainly the fans aren't going to be afraid of Messi or Busquets or Alba.
It's just to answer, Jans is asking, Inter Miami will make a champion presentation. When will it happen? It's actually going to happen on August 30th. And it's coincidentally, it's going to happen against Nashville. So that's
what a stinger.
I know, what a stinger. It's poetic. All right. So you said 3-5-2. You guys, you said you play the counter. So you're going to allow us to just possess the ball, which, I mean, that doesn't mind doing. And it's just going to be passing the ball back and forth, see who makes a mistake first, I'm assuming.
It depends on where Noonan's going to go. I mean, obviously, Noonan is the former assistant coach of Jim Curtin, so I'm sure he's going to, dig into Jim Curtin's mind a little bit on, mistakes made in that matchup, and then figure out how he wants to attack it with a full roster. So I would say, if I was going to guess, and based on Pat Noonan's comments and post-Columbus match, they may dial it back a little bit. They're not going to come at him because they weren't able to successfully apply pressure. Now, part of that was because the midfield had to push back for support in the back line. But the other part of that is, maybe we don't have the legs to play on against people like Nagby, who's sure with the ball. And we know Busquets is sure with the ball. We know Messi's sure with the ball. So if we're going to press that, we need to be a little bit cautious. So there might be a little bit of playing through the back, trying to work the wings a little bit, trying to keep I'd imagine we would want to keep Yedlin and Alba from being just completely pushed forward the entire match.
Well, Yedlin doesn't push forward as much as he used to. We're building up the left a lot now with Jordi Alba and Robert Taylor back there, and Messi kind of just is positionless. He kind of just drifts into the middle, even though he's technically the right wing. So we're building up the left a lot. So there's a lot of space for Yedlin to move up, but he doesn't push up as much as he used to, which I thought was interesting because I was looking at the stats from last night's game, and you guys were working that right side a lot. So
yeah.
I'm not sure, like, that could kind of bite us in the ass because Jordi Alba might as well be considered a left winger because he's constantly up there. And when teams have success against us, it usually starts up that right side. So is that where I guess your play usually starts from, up that right wing?
It doesn't actually.
Okay.
Again, that was part of it because we were sure about the skill of. I mean, Cucho Hernandez is a handful, and he likes to find himself in some difficult positions, especially out wide sometimes, and then playing into the box. He's very, very aggressive at coming in at an angle from the box. So I would say with the way we were playing Barrial playing back so much, that made it naturally the right side as being the side that we had to play through. And at times at our detriment, the right wing back is just not a position we've secured. So I would say we're still going to try to play to the left, but we like to play Vasquez on the right side. So naturally, when we get into the attacking third, a lot of that stuff is going to come on Jordi Alba's side.
That's not going to be good. I mean, the one place you don't want to mess up on is the right side. That's where Messi lives. Like,
Yeah, well, our right side. So Messi is
Right.
playing on the right. Yeah.
Oh,
So
okay. Yes,
he's
yes, yes.
playing into more short players, right?
Yes, yes,
Mosquera,
yes.
Barriel. On the other side, that's where I'm really scared because Nick
Yeah.
Hagelin has shown times being very late at seeing the play develop in front of him. And we saw Alvis Powell, who is supposed to be a reserve, but obviously with Arias having difficulties being on the pitch, Powell is just doesn't have what it takes to play at high level.
Alvis Powell was our on our first inaugural game in franchise history. He was our right back.
Yeah,
So
yeah, he's made the rounds for sure. But
yeah,
I mean,
yeah.
he's not a terrible player, but he's obviously not a pacey enough player to try to lock down Alba, or even if you're having other players float into that position.
Fun fact: me and him used to exchange messages back and forth every Sunday night about 90 Day Fiance.
Yeah.
Just a random fact that me and Powell used to go back and forth about 90 Day Fiance.
He's a great dude,
So
that's for sure.
yeah, he is.
Yeah. He's a
There's
locker
some
room guy for sure.
there's S shots is mentioning here if your team does a lot of crosses, if they work from the outside going in often.
No, that's not
Before,
what
be,
we
be-
want to do. Oh, go ahead.
but be, no, I was gonna say before you answer that, just so you know, everybody
Yep.
listening, I know Inter Miami fans are gonna love to hear this. Cincinnati is second in the league in percentages for headed duels won.
Ooh.
So they got size, and if
Trees.
they whip one in,
Yeah.
you know, Inter Miami fans know very well we are terrified of set pieces. That is
Yes.
where open run of play, our defense is okay, right? It's not great, but we
at
hold our
this.
own. But
It's
set
it.
pieces, that's it. We feel like that's it. This is half of a goal already. And when I saw that they were the second in the league and highest percentage of headed duels won, I was like, oh, this is not good. This is not good.
Yeah,
I
let
just
me ease your concerns a little bit on that.
Yes, please.
A lot of that is tilting the scale on the defensive side. You know, we have
Like
trees back
heading the
there.
ball away. Okay.
Yeah, Yerson Mosquera, Matt Miazga, and I think Hagelin last season was number one in the entire league at high pointing the ball.
Yeah.
But Vasquez clearly is one of those players that definitely could do. It depends on the service, right? Lucho likes to play short. Barrio likes to play a little bit more over the top and more of an in-swinging ball. So that's when it gets a little scary.
well, I
And I
just want to
believe the
mention.
guy that said I needed
Yeah, go
to
ahead.
grow up. So real quick, the guy that said that I needed to grow up, he said we conceded against Nashville in a set piece, and it's true. It's not necessarily all headers. It's just we're not disciplined. We don't keep on mark our guys. I don't know what it's like a zone, but like nobody knows how to play the zone, so it's just like a scramble all the time. So it's not necessarily a header. It's just set pieces is just what we just don't do well. So that's what I'm fearful of.
Which is
And
surprising because your central center back is pretty good at that. If I recall, he's maybe the
Sergei
only person.
Kristov.
Well, Christoph definitely had a great game against Nashville, but I'm talking about the guy from Montreal that you were able to
Miller.
pick up.
Kamal
Kamal
Miller.
Miller.
Yes.
Miller. Yeah, Miller is really good at finding the ball. Maybe not the athleticism to high point it, but
Yeah.
very good at finding positions.
Well,
It almost feels like everybody crowds the front post and they just forget about the back post. It's like, we'll figure it out.
Yeah.
well, I want to mention real quick the roller coaster that you guys are putting the listeners on. Banny Grisson just mentioned Taylor Feast, Facundo Farias Feast, and that was before you started talking about swinging in passes, and then all of a sudden he throws in, "Oh God, we need Ta Aviles." So the kind of roller coaster that we as a fan base are going through in terms of that, I mean that stat that you put up, Danny, is exactly what led him to feel that.
No, but I give it to Justin because he did call because it's a percentage, right? It doesn't say offensive headers. It just says headed duels, which just tells me that they have big bodies. But like Justin said, that's not how they play. We're not gonna have any headed goals, is what he's saying. Like you're
Yeah.
not gonna play any balls in the air because they're gonna win that headed duel. So that
like
does
like
ease
against
my worry a little
against
bit.
Philadelphia, were you concerned about Galese or Elliott scoring a goal? No. So
Yeah.
it's basically the same thing with just a lot younger players.
what do you think of this comment, Danny? I mean, did you see that comment that I just put
Uh-oh.
up about
What?
hiding
No,
our defenders in a bathroom?
no. I was looking at Mike V talking crap about 90 Day Pillow Talk. That's like one of my favorite shows. Don't hate on 90 Day Fiance. I'm sorry. That show is. If you're not on 90 Day Fiance, you got to get on that. That's a good show. What were you saying, Chris?
Yeah, that Mr. Fax brings up in the chat. Can Kristoff and Miller be locked in the restroom and we take two different defenders, please? I mean, I don't know if you want McVay playing a center back right now, Mr. Fax. Like, I don't think
I
we should be
agree.
doing that.
Big guy is funny. I don't think Aviles plays, and if he does, he's gonna come in on as a late sub. I think Kristoff and Kamal Miller, because it's the semifinal game, and they probably want to be, testing new things out. Uh, for a semifinal game, I don't think Aviles is gonna start the game. I thought Kristoff played well, one of his better games. Kamal Miller has been playing well as of late, also. So I think that maybe he comes in as a sub, maybe, but I don't see it. Farias maybe comes in for Taylor at some point, but I think we're going to have the same back line we've had. Now, one worry I do have is that a lot of teams were rotating their 11, right? They'd have one or two different starters throughout the League's Cup tournament. We ran out basically the same 11 after that Cruz Azul game. And I mean, I guess after all the three big names debuted, every game, right? These guys must be somewhat tired. They ran 7 games in less than a month, and now they got this game coming up, and they have the Red Bulls in 3 days after that. Like it's a marathon that they're going through right now. So that does have me a little worried, especially since Cincinnati has rested for 2 weeks, and then he said didn't even start their back line last game, so they're going to be a lot fresher than we will.
And Maro's mentioning, is the Cincinnati defense good? Because I saw results that they lost 3-0 yesterday. Just on the East, there's only 2 other teams that have allowed less goals than them, and that's Nashville and Philadelphia. So yeah, they're pretty good on defense too. So
Yeah.
Now, I mean, there's probably different stats that can break down where they're sort of,
where we
not
struggle.
great in. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Early in the season, it was
transition.
early on the season, it was a little bit of the communication aspect. I think as of late, it's being able to just not be able to fill the consistent lineup, and the midfield just kind of breaking down and giving away pretty easy turnovers. But now we kind of have all the pieces back, and now it kind of feels like we're going to start massaging that again, where we can control the ball in the midfield.
Yeah, I agree
Well,
with that.
that transition back to what I was gonna get to right now. So Cincinnati, where are they gonna try to take advantage of Inter Miami? Like, what is that strength that you're like, okay, this is probably what the strategy is gonna be to go ahead and get 1 or 2 on Miami?
I think, just from what I've seen, is playing direct. I think that FC Dallas didn't do a lot of playing around. I think most people are going to look at FC Dallas and say, hey, what can we do to do that, right? I think not playing Carranza and Ua was the most bizarre decision I've ever seen.
My understanding is Carranza was hurt. That's what I heard.
I don't care if he's hurt. Play him. League's Cup or nothing, right? No, it boggles the mind. Like you have to play direct, but you have to play sure, right? With Inter Miami. But I think that FC Cincinnati, they just haven't had Bupenza around long enough. You have had 4 matches now with Bupenza as a starter. And it looked amazing against again, going back to Chivas, and it looked serviceable against a really, really turtle shell Nashville defense. Remember, we went same as Inter Miami. We just scored 1 last penalty kick in the PK shootout. So it's looked serviceable to this point, but I think playing direct, getting back to what FC Cincinnati does well, with playing a little bit off of Barrial and Acosta over there on the left, and then Vasquez is on the right side, and getting that late track back. They Cincinnati's strength, especially against you guys, is going to be playing a little bit on your left side and trying to really make Yedlin earn his money.
And as far as where could you make us feel good, right? Where's that weakness that's like, okay, if you're gonna go ahead and you're like, hey Tata, I'm gonna help you out here. This is what you need to take advantage of. What is that weakness?
You really need to take advantage of where Messi plays. because I mean with the Mosquera out there, obviously it's a little bit more challenging now, right? When you're not having a Mosquera to deal with, it's a little bit easier to really make Barrial come back and really try to be a defensive back, which he's just not. He's a very good attacking winger, but I would be very concerned with FC Cincinnati because I don't think that you're going to see a very high play from Messi. I think FC Cincinnati does a very good job at the little bit of the Messi finding his way at the top of the box. Nobody's marking him. Oh my God, he's scoring a goal. You know what I mean? There's not going to be much of that. But I think that whenever you're getting him dropping back just a bit further and playing a little bit off of that and going to the left, especially, and be able to quick swing it out there to Taylor, kind of like what we saw in the first two matches from Inter Miami. I think that's where FC Cincinnati fans are going to be praying that it doesn't happen because our midfield is pretty good, but Acosta doesn't track back and Moreno just doesn't have the legs. He's smart, but he doesn't have the legs if Messi's going to go blasting through the central portion and swing the ball out left.
Okay.
This is a good question right here by Zahid. Messi's not going to score sooner or later. Where are the goals coming from? I fear. Zahid, you got to watch a couple games. Have you watched any games, buddy? Like, watch a couple games. You had a couple goals from Taylor. I mean, who else scored a goal? You got Joseph scored some goals.
Yep.
You know, you have Jordi Alba scored a goal. I think he scored two goals.
David Ruiz has scored, but I don't know if he means. I mean, Messi just opens up the field for everybody else. So I mean, everybody's gonna have opportunities, but Messi's the one that makes everything go. The weather.
And I also want to mention one more thing real quick, is that we didn't see it in the last matchup, but we said this last time. Joseph Martinez has absolutely terrorized FC Cincinnati in the past. Very different back line, but it definitely puts a little bit of fear in the supporters.
It's funny because somebody told me that about Philadelphia. I think it was
everybody says that to us, Danny.
I know,
everybody.
But it's because he was so good before. He terrorized everybody.
Yeah,
so before the Philly game, Todd's like, "Yeah, but Joseph always kills us." It's like, man, I've heard this so much. When is he gonna actually start doing it? So hopefully he could bring that back.
Yeah.
We get three defensive back lines, right? They're not always the most. They're not usually the quickest reactionary defenses. So I think Martinez can really, if he's playing very aggressive, if he has the legs after a long Leagues Cup run, that's somebody that FC Cincinnati is definitely going to keep in the back of their mind.
I want to mention again, Zahid. All right, so what are we talking about, Zahid? Are we talking about after Messi? Are we talking about before Messi? I don't know where the time
before Messi, we had scored 22 goals in 22 games. So yes, the offense was completely horrible before Messi. But once Messi arrived, he opened everything up. All of a sudden, Robert Taylor had room to move. Joseph had room to run into the box because everybody was overcrowding on Messi. So like things have changed for sure. Definitely Messi has changed things since he arrived.
Zahid, nobody is saying that we were perennial all-stars or the best in the world. Nobody's saying that. Right? So like I'm looking at the comments, no one is saying that.
Sure.
We all understand and realize that Messi has contributed greatly to our success.
Mm-hmm.
For sure. What's the weather looking like in Cincinnati this week?
Hot, but not anything compared to Miami or
Dallas.
Florida.
That Dallas game was wild.
Dallas. Yeah, but I think it's going to be 89 at kickoff. Fahrenheit, so that's 32 Celsius for international fans. And I think at the end of the match we're gonna drop down to probably like low 80s and that. So it's gonna stay
Okay.
hot. It's gonna stay a little bit humid. You have the river, the Ohio River nearby, but it shouldn't be anything for Miami, right? That's a conversation for
No, yeah,
like
that's not too bad. But after that
Montreal.
Dallas game, because that Dallas stuff was wild.
Yeah, it ain't gonna be
All right.
Dallas, that's for sure.
Yeah. All right. So if anybody in the chat has any more questions for Justin, just start writing them down because we're about to get into our predictions and we can get to those questions afterwards. So
Yes.
predictions, Justin. We're coming off a big game. We're riding high. I think Inter Miami's feeling themselves. They won a chip, but I know I could just tell the way they celebrated that they're not satisfied. They want another one. So they're gonna come in and they're not taking this game for granted. They're gonna come in and they want to be in another final. Cincinnati has a trophy, at my understanding. So they're also hungry. They sacrificed the hell is real for this game. What is your prediction for Wednesday's semifinal game against Inter Miami?
I think 3-2 Inter Miami in the probably find a goal somewhere in the 104th minute. I think this thing goes to extra time. And I think that Miami is going to probably be able to find that short moment of brilliance to put themselves ahead. I think
All right, Chris.
FC Cincinnati's depth drops a little bit off once you get beyond that.
Right, once you start bringing in those 5 subs.
Yeah.
Chris, what are we thinking?
Listen, you already know how I feel about Cincinnati, right, Danny? We've gone over this. What's this guy, this goalie, Celentano? You don't know how happy I was that he got all those goals scored on him. You have no idea how happy that made me. So I am looking forward strictly to see at least 4 balls hit the back of the net. So minimum goals, I say, is going to be 4. And I think it's going to be 4-2. No, 4-1. I think it's going to be 4-1. Write it down, jot it down, put the house. I know I just saw Greenberg somewhere around here. I know he's a betting man. Put the house on that, baby. 4-2, Inter Miami. Look at this. Mike V with the 7-3 Campapi hat trick. I love that energy, bro. I love it. I love it.
Okay, well, I try to be a little more realistic with my takes. I don't see 7-2 for sure. I do think that we will
he can win extra goal.
take advantage of that center midfield. I think the way I saw Columbus take advantage of it yesterday, I think Busquets, Ben Krem, I'm sure you've heard of him. I don't know how familiar you are with him, but that kid is like watching a gazelle run through the middle of that pitch. And then you got Messi. I think that we're going to take advantage of that. I think we put up 3, and I think we give up 1. I'm going to say 3-1 Miami. I know this fantasy ride we're on has to eventually end, right? We have to eventually lose to somebody. I just don't think it's happening on Wednesday. I think that I think 3-1, and that's what I'm hoping for. Now, before I go to Justin, because I'm going to ask Justin, because I'm sure Justin, since he's been watching some Inter games, has an opinion. Chris, are we finally going to see Campana start, or are we still with the Joseph?
And everybody is chiming in on this, and I think that right now, with the momentum riding towards this U.S. Open Cup after getting this high of the Leagues Cup and seeing how Campana sort of performed, I think that it's the right time to start him. I think we should see him start.
I agree also. And go ahead, Chris. They think that you're a gringo and that you're crazy for predicting more than 2 goals in a semifinal professional football game.
Listen, Erwin, I mean, have you watched any Inter Miami games in the last month, bro? Wake up. Get out of
I think he missed the semifinal of the Leagues Cup when we put up 4 on one of the best
Yeah,
defenses, which was Philadelphia in Philadelphia. So just in
Irwin.
case, Erwin, go back, watch that semifinal game against Philadelphia, one of the better defenses in the league, where Miami put up 4 goals on them. Now, I'm not saying that they're going to put up 4 goals. I don't think so, but I do think they'll put up 3. I
know,
Erwin, no
think
and
come
3-1.
tanta mierda
and,
and
and
get your
let me
buddy SpongeBob and go watch a couple games, bro.
let, let,
Please.
let me
Love the
mention
energy.
this. Let me mention this. Philadelphia is a lot more cohesive than Cincinnati. Cincinnati is a very good team, but Philadelphia
No.
has been playing several seasons and a
Yeah,
lot
that's
of
what I say. They have
competitions
their same
together.
11 from last year.
And I mean, like Champions League, this is literally the same lineup that they've been putting out there, other than Carranza and Ua, obviously, right?
I
But
honestly thought that Miami might lose that game. I had no
no,
confidence going into that game.
no, that was shocking.
No. Yeah,
Yep.
yeah. That was wild. All right. I'm not sure why I'm crazy, but I mean, I'll take it. Who do you think should start, Campana or Joseph, Justin?
I think that Joseph should start, and it's just solely beyond. It's solely because of the matchup. I think Cabana is probably. Let me. I have to pause a little bit before I say this, but I think that Campana at this point is probably a better option for Miami. But a matchup
Technically.
against yes, technically. But I think that with Cincinnati, a lot of what Campana likes to do can be easily dealt with Cincinnati's back line. So
That makes sense.
I would play a little bit more of that, swarming Nat style that Joseph Martinez can bring, and then obviously with Taylor coming in on the left, Messi sliding over, playing a little bit of those small shifty players is probably the better option right now. But Campana, I think in the long run, is probably going to be your better option for Inter Miami. Just
And
because he is the closest thing. You have a lot of playmakers,
Mm-hmm.
right? I know Joseph Martinez has been a tremendous goal scorer in his, MLS career, but you have a ton of playmakers. You need somebody to finish. And if Campana needs to show it too, that's something that's probably holding him up. He needs to show that pedigree, right? He's had a lot of matches with Inter Miami, pre-Messi, with Messi. He's been more of a substitute, but I think Campana has to kind of take that bull by the horns and actually prove that he deserves to be out there and put some on the net. And I know that's a lot of pressure, right? I mean, you have that that was as close as it can get in the Leagues Cup final against Nashville. I mean, he was
Yeah.
right there on it. He just couldn't get his foot around the ball. But I think that Campana will eventually be the choice 9 for Miami.
But I think, and I don't think
eventually, I
so because
think.
Luis Suarez will eventually come here and he take his spot. But
Oh yeah, of course, yeah.
but I do agree
Neymar's
with you.
coming
As
on
Neymar is coming.
loan
20,
from Saudi
2025.
Arabia.
He's coming. He's coming. I do agree though. Campana and we were talking about this just a couple weeks ago. Inter Miami, like most fan bases, right? We kind of put these players that have like a good stretch on this high pedestal, and we're like, oh, this guy is it. But like
Yeah.
outside of a month or two that he had in the beginning of 2022, he really hasn't done a lot. He really hasn't. So he
You're
still
gonna
has to
crush
show
him.
it. No,
You're gonna
no,
crush
because
him.
I want to give him
You're-
credit because although he missed that goal at the end, which was brutal to watch, I was there and I was talking to somebody today, and I was like, you know what? I think back about that moment, and I can't remember if it was loud or quiet in the arena. Like I was so zoned in, couldn't believe that we were probably gonna win the game right there. But whatever, that's a different story. Joseph doesn't get that opportunity. The way Campana bodied that defender
Oh, no way.
and
No way.
made the space to be one-on-one with that goalie, Joseph can't do that. And that's part of what Campana brings that I like. But to Justin's point, Joseph to me is better technically. He might be even have a higher IQ when it comes to running off the ball, moving off the ball. So I think that Joseph doesn't get assist or credit for some of the runs he's made that have led to goals. But if you go back over the last month, there has to be 2 or 3 Messi or Robert Taylor goals that Joseph should get some credit for, because his runs have taken the defense along with him and opened space for other players. So I think Joseph doesn't get as much credit because he hasn't put the ball in the back of the net. And I get it. He needs to do that also. But he has done other things that have contributed to the team. So I think that Joseph will start.
There's nobody in this league that has forgotten Joseph Martinez. Every single time he steps on the pitch, the coaches, the players are going to be ready for him. Right. Every single team is going to be key. I know Messi's on the pitch. I know Busquets is on the pitch. Every single time Joseph Martinez gets on the pitch, everybody's going to keep an eye on him. And I don't think they're going to man mark him as much as they used to try to do, but I think that Martinez is pulling, and that may be necessary. Tata is probably the best person to be in this position for him.
For sure.
I think Martinez, I think he got some insider trading whenever he decided to move down to Miami.
I don't doubt that. I don't doubt that.
And every single guest that we've had on, Danny, I mentioned this a little earlier, but it's really fascinating this year how just about every guest has said the same thing over and over, that you got to watch out for Joseph Martinez. And then it's like, here we are watching him week in and week out. And we're listening to all the people online and on Twitter or X or whatever here in the chat. And everybody just wants Joseph out of here. They're dying to see Campana and his flowy hair. I mean,
not me.
I just think that they both have their two different, advantages on how they play, and one is very different than the other. And I think, like how we discussed in the last show that we had together, Danny, is that Joseph meshes well with Tata, and his pace meshes better with Messi. So
no, he's buddy with Messi. But Messi plays well with like a false nine, somebody that can kind of fall back a bit. So
I think this may be a poor comparison because they're not the same player. But if anybody, I'm sure there's some people that, WV. But think currently for Manchester City, everybody knows what Jack Grealish has. Manchester City doesn't want Jack Grealish playing. Everybody in Manchester City has had that argument. We want Phil Foden playing, but everyone around the EPL knows what Jack Grealish is and what he can do. And they're terrified of Jack Grealish.
Him and his big ass calves.
Well, the big ass calves for sure, but the absolute shiftiness and just the Energizer Bunny stuff, and Joseph Martinez gives me that vibes, right? Like when Grealish was at Villa, he was a one-man band, but it was good enough, right? And obviously Martinez with a lot more pedigree as far as winning championships with Atlanta. But Martinez is a player that you just can't give 3 or 4 feet of space because he is that firecrack, right? And I think you're seeing that. And not so much with Liga MX teams, right? Obviously. But I think a lot of people in this league, MLS, are looking at Martinez and they're not willing to give him the space that he probably should get when you consider the rest of the pitch.
I have a question for you, Justin. Was Jack Grealish your favorite character on Ted Lasso?
No. I have actually never seen Ted Lasso. That's blasphemous.
Oh, that's why it went over your head what I said.
But I'm not a TV guy, man. The last TV show I probably watched was The Unit, and that's dating myself. That is.
I don't even know what that is.
What are we even
doing,
the
Justin? Commercial guy.
No.
He had a show on CBS, and I mean that was like in 2009 or something like that. I'm not a TV show guy.
Dude, but hold on. Broward Heron is also saying he's not. But there's so many streaming possibilities that you have nowadays. Like you could go to the bathroom and watch an episode real quick. You could be,
I just don't like nonfiction. Nonfiction never has compelled me very much. So I mean, I'm sure it's a great show. Everybody talks about it, and eventually I probably will sit down and watch.
There was a character that I think was based off of Jack Grealish. I mean, it hasn't been said, but I just assume, that you watched it. I don't know why.
Is he a bit of a whiskey drinker?
Yes, he was a party guy. And yes, definitely. They had him. I think that was based off of him. Nobody's confirmed it, but I definitely think that was him.
Hey,
All right, so we're closing it
hold
out,
on. We
Chris,
need to
and they're
stop
asking
this
for
right now.
questions.
Joseph
We need to
Martinez is
stop
in a
right now,
different
Zahid.
realm of partying, right?
He's got to stop eating. But even though he hasn't looked too bad this year. He hasn't
Oh,
looked too
it's the
bad this year.
munchies. It's the munchies.
We need to stop right now, Zahid. You're mentioning in the chat Neville was the worst thing that could happen to Inter Miami. I mean, do you not know of a guy named Blaise Matuidi? Like, come on. What are
Forgot
we
about him.
doing, bro?
That was the Bright Line ambassador. Like that's what you were. He wasn't playing. He was just greeting people at the Bright Line. It was wild. And we got the sanctions because of that signing. We got a sanction for signing a mascot. It's wild what Inter Miami fans have gone through over the last couple of years.
Did what? I didn't see any questions. Did you see the questions, Danny?
No, no. But I was gonna ask you. Do you think? I knew, and I told you this back in last December when I said that Tata would be the manager for this team, because I told you if Messi comes, Tata's the manager. But hypothetically, if Neville is coaching this team over the last month with these players, does he still win the League's Cup?
No.
Yeah, I think so.
I don't think so.
I do.
I just think that Neville has a very stubborn style of play.
But you know what? I used to think that until we got Pozuelo last year, and he changed the way he played to work around Pozuelo, and that's what all of a sudden unlocked Higuain. I think that if he would have gotten these guys, I think that the Neville ball that everybody talks about changes. I think he would give more freedom to the players to press up. I mean, everybody would criticize him for always having his fullbacks pushed up way too high. Tata's doing the same thing. So I think that he still would have.
Do you think they're going to send him a medal? They're going to ship Phil Neville a medal on the
Do you think that he would
season pass desk?
He would receive it, Danny. Why wouldn't he receive it?
No, on Twitter he said "Vamos Miami" right before the game. I want to say. I think I saw that.
I don't think he has any ill will. I think he's got an arrogance about him, and it's hard for him to come down. I think he came FC Cincinnati. I was at the press conference for that when they lost, and there was some questions because there was a bit of a skid. I think it was 4 consecutive matches Inter Miami had dropped.
We hit 5 in a row, then we hit 7 in a row. It's been rough. It's been rough.
And he a pretty innocent question. Are you concerned at all about the recent form, right? And he fired back in that press conference. It was crazy, man. It was like, geez, this guy's got some balls. Because I mean, they hadn't been playing well, and for him to get up there, you think he really had something going in his mind, and it just, I think you were cursed by 1, injuries, and then 2, I don't want to dog on the guy, but I don't think that Duke was your best option considering the players you had in front of him. Capana.
Oh, and you know what? And interesting fact that I don't know if a lot of people know. Bryce Duke actually played in Inter Miami's first ever inaugural game. Did people know that?
I did not.
He played for LAFC
against them.
Right. He was the last substitution, like the 92nd minute. But technically, he was a part of the Inter Miami inaugural game. So I thought that was pretty interesting.
So you guys played, your inaugural season started off with 2 games and
then COVID. The pandemic.
Yeah.
Yes. It was LAFC. We didn't score. I think we lost 1-0, I want to say. And then we played against DC. We got 1 goal there, Pizarro. And then the pandemic hit. And then it was the MLS is back in Orlando and all that good stuff.
Did you guys make it past the group stage? We're completely going off into a different stratosphere.
Yeah. You know, I don't even remember the MLS is back, honestly. That was so long ago. I remember I wanted to see if there was a way to like sneak in there if I went to Orlando because they had just opened the parks. But there wasn't. They had that stuff pretty well guarded.
Yeah, we lost 5-0 in our first game in the MLS Cup. And guess who it was against? Columbus.
Mm-hmm. All right, Chris.
So, do you want me to get to the cruise question?
Go for it. But
So, well,
what I told you last time, if Justin answers this how I think he's gonna answer it, this question has to disappear.
yeah, it does. It does. All right. But before we do, I just want to mention this quick question since we're at the end of the show. Deegan is asking, hey, this is just a general question, but do you see potential USL relegation as a positive for US soccer as a whole? And do you see MLS ever adopting relegation? So, with 5 minutes left, go.
Yes and no. Yeah, I think that USL relegation is going to be good for that league, but MLS will never, ever adopt relegation.
Let me tell you, you answered that as efficiently as I expected, Justin. You are a gentleman and a scholar.
I agree with everything he just said. I think for MLS it wouldn't work just because they're trying to grow the league, and to grow the league, that's not going to help those MLS teams.
Ownership's not going to buy in on that.
No, for sure. No. And fans won't either. There's too many sports here that people are invested in to root for a second division team.
You're basically relegating 10 teams, right off the bat. That's not going to happen.
So, Rashid, good night. Get a bite to eat. But before we finish the show, so Steve Munoz, Don Capecito, one of the guys that always kicks it with us in the chat, he asked a question about cruising, and he wants to know if you had to rank cruising, Justin, from a 1 to a 5, 5 being one of the best choices to make for a vacation, where would you rank cruising? First of all, have you ever cruised?
Twice. Eastern
Okay.
Caribbean and Western Caribbean.
Okay, Danny. All right. So all right. So
finally.
All right. So from a 1 to 5, where are you ranking the experience of vacation experience of cruising?
Eastern Caribbean.
No. I
can't break them out.
About destinations. We're just talking about cruising. Okay. The experience of cruising for vacations.
I'm gonna go with personally for me, a 4, because I'm not. I mean, my dream is like a big travel, right? Like going to the Grand Canyon, going out to Yosemite. I like those kind of things, right? But cruising is all in one package. You don't have to do all the headaches. If you're going with family, everything's figured out. Dining options, all that stuff. It's great. I'm a foodie, and I hate driving, so perfect for me.
Listen, you gave the best answer anybody has. Hold on. Because I hope that Steve is still here. Hold on. You gave the best answer I've ever heard anyone give.
Richard Greenberg's asking if I bumped into Uncle Matt in Nashville. No, I did not. And what's funny is that I was sitting in section 120, and apparently he was also. But no, I didn't see him. I mean, I didn't go looking for him, to be honest with you. If I saw him, I would have said hi, but I did not see him. But I will say, now that we're talking about it real quickly, Nashville, really nice fans. Really, really nice fans. The people around me. Now, I know some of them were going off on Twitter, but I mean, you're gonna have your handful of douchebags. But for the most part, everybody's really cool. After that Messi scored that goal, it's like, man, some of the fans were like, I really want Nashville to win, but I'm so happy that I'm getting to witness Messi in person. And it's really cool. So yes, shout out to Nashville.
And shout out to Steve. We're never going to mention that question ever again.
Yeah, and get new tactics, Nashville. That's going to be my lasting thoughts. I'm tired of going up to the press box and watching them sit in the box the entire game. Like, please, obviously they break out against different teams, but for us, it always seems that they're
parking the bus.
Yeah, I mean, I think I commented on one of your videos. Hany Mukhtar literally sat in the defensive box like halfway through the first quarter. First half. It's like, well, what are you doing, man? Like, at least give us something. Like, we're a counter-attacking team. Like, you're just gonna sit back and watch us kick the ball around.
If the opposing team doesn't score on you, you can't lose.
It's true. This is facts.
All right, so Justin, let everybody know where they can find you.
Yeah, so we have a big group. I'm probably one of the newer additions to Cincinnati Soccer Talk. They've been doing it since day one, since the announcement in 2015. You can find us on CincinnatiSoccerTalk.com, Apple Podcasts, any podcast platform that you want. YouTube, look up Cincinnati Soccer Talk, and there's just a ton. We have an entire team, like 30 men of
God damn.
just writing. If you like written press, if you like podcasts, if you like live shows, whatever you can think of, we have it for you. So if you're interested at all in FC Cincinnati, definitely give us a look. Give us a kick on the tire.
Awesome. Richard Greenberg said Uncle Mad's match video is really good. Yeah, I saw that. It was good. Chris kept pushing me to do like a vlog from the stadium. Sorry guys, I just can't. I can't hold up my phone and watch the game through my phone. I just can't do it. Like, for the record, I did pull out my phone for the Ulloa kick, the 5th kick where he could have won it. So I would have gotten that on video, and technically I still do have that on video. But obviously, all it is him missing and then me just cussing up a storm. So
yeah, I was about to ask.
So
how many
yeah,
expletives would you have had to?
Yeah. I was cussing as he was walking up, to be quite honest with you, because I was like, why the F is this guy coming up to take this kick right now? But yeah, so Uncle Matt for sure did it well. I just can't do it, man. I like enjoying the games. I'm a fan first, unfortunately. Sorry, guys. Chris, anything final thoughts for the people?
Final thoughts is everybody do whatever you got to do to get access to watch the game on Wednesday, because I know that a lot of you are not going to make a flight to Cincinnati, Ohio to watch the game. I was actually looking at it, and by the way, if you guys do intend on doing it, flights are pretty cheap right now. So if you do have the time,
it's going to be hard to make it up there.
Yeah, I mean, look, if you guys have the time and the money, it's a cheap flight. I don't know about the tickets, but if not, find your way to watch it. I think somebody mentioned it's on Paramount, possibly. So look around. You'll probably get it free somewhere. So just get ready for it. And we already asked the question. Oh, yeah, Mr. Krabs. He's already gone over the steak and toast. So
yeah, Justin's a returning guest. So say he has. So if you want, go back.
2-2 is what it was.
It's possible.
Yes.
You know what? Just for the sake of the people asking.
I think it was 2-2 that you picked.
Yeah, I think that was it.
Yeah, you microwave your bread.
Yeah.
I like bread.
All
man.
right.
You don't have to do much to it.
All right. How much are the tickets going for, Chris? Did you see? Or Justin, did you see how much the tickets are going for?
$340 is the realistic price now. I think it's getting further down though, because
it'll drop to
game day is
200s.
drop.
Yep.
Yeah.
We've now gotten accustomed to how this works. If you're gonna buy tickets to watch Inter Miami, just wait till the last day to buy them.
Yep.
And by the way, go ahead.
Sorry. I was just gonna say, somebody keeps saying Cincinnati food. Are they asking like what to eat at?
Well, yeah. What's like the best food that you can get at Cincinnati? I guess for a game day experience.
I'll tell you what. Like the meme is. It's Skyline chili. You have to get Skyline chili. But
Skyline chili.
The best food is you just go up and down Vine Street. If you're going up to the game, Vine Street is just a bar. I think we talked about this last time. It's just bar and food heaven. You can get ramen. You can get Southern style fried chicken. You can get barbecue. You can get whatever you want up and down there. And they're very nice restaurants. They're not cheap.
Nice.
I think I remember you telling us that Cincinnati isn't big on tailgating. It's like you go to a local.
Yeah, it's a restaurant alley.
Right. It is bar heaven. Yeah. There's I would say probably about 100 bars within 4 city blocks from Tico.
Oh wow!
And there's literally you walk down the main staircase, and there's literally a bar across the street. It's called the Pitch. They actually have a couple of the what is it called? Football. Little pitches.
Inter Miami's trying to do something like that, I think, with that complex that they're building around the stadium. So we're looking forward to that. But who knows? They haven't even broken ground yet. So let's see when that happens.
Yeah.
So according to everybody in the chat, they are happy that you joined us. So thank you very much, Justin, for taking the time to join us again and previewing this game. Chris, as always, I hate you. Everybody listening on audio, thank you for listening all the way to the end. Please like, review, share, comment, all that other good stuff. And for listening on YouTube, thank you for watching all the way to the end. We appreciate you sticking with us. And as always, for those of you that joined us live in the chat, thank you very much. You guys are always the best part of the show. Please like and subscribe if you haven't already. And if you are looking for unique Inter Miami or Messi gear, please visit batterfans.com. We got you the shirt that I'm rocking today. I mean, this is a sample. We have an updated version on the site, but if you want, batterfans.com for all that other merch. And until the next one, have a good one. Peace.